Hi, hello. Welcome by the first webinar of Ccrave. I'm Vincent, the CEO and founder of Ccrave, and today I will host this session. As the participants of yesterday see, this is another recording. We had some technical problems, but we really wanted to share all the findings with you, also for the people that couldn't attend yesterday. So we kickstart this new recording. So what is the topic today? Is 10 takeaways to boost your circular lifestyle brands. That will be something that you can take home after viewing this recording. So we will share with you a lot of knowledge that we have gathered over the last years when we were busy with Ccrave and when we're talking with a lot of brands. And so first of all, before I share all these knowledges, I want to share a little bit about Ccrave and what we are about, what our motivations are, and also explain where our findings come from, how that we gather them, and then we go more into depth into some brands. We are at the moment also at our first pop-up store, and if you're ever around in Amsterdam, don't hesitate to come and check the products that we have displayed here. You can feel, touch, smell them. So we have a session now in February and the next one in March. So, but first of all, who are we? So this was a short demo video to explain what our motivation is and what our activities are. And for us, it's of course all about boosting the circular economy revolution. I think that was one of also the DNA motivations of the several founders. And we were thinking also, how can we do this? And so with Ccrave, we are a platform on one hand where we really want to educate people, when we want to promote a circular lifestyle, where we create content, can be podcasts, can be articles that really make people change on how they can contribute and shift to a more circular way of living. On top of that, we have also an e-commerce platform. We have our shop where we want to give access for people to waste-based products or zero-waste products in fashion, home, and lifestyle. So our goals is acceleration of circular business ventures, and that's why we also have an ecosystem of consultants that can help small, medium enterprises, circular enterprises, or linear enterprises that want to go circular. We are in a market that is still in an introductory phase and stage, and we need to grow. Circular products need to take their spot as an alternative for responsible consumption. So giving access to these alternatives, we do it by the pop-up shop, by also selling them on our platform. And of course, the key drive is let's protect our resources and change linear consumption to a responsible one. So a little bit just about maybe the ecosystem of consultants also. So we are based in Lisbon, and Lisbon is part of Portugal, and Portugal is really going through a big transformation from a production point of view. So Portugal always had the craftsmanship, also the knowledge to produce lifestyle goods in Europe. And we see a very clear shift also there to circular materials, circular producers. And so that's a network that we also build. So if you're ever a brand that needs some support, that wants to produce in Portugal, reach out to us. So what is important also, I think, is the value proposition that we have as a platform, and also the kind of products that, in our opinion, will be the products of the future, will have the potential also to convince people to shift to circular products. And out of our research, so we were part of different accelerator and incubator programs where we did some research, and we see that design has the power to change people's behavior in products that they purchase. So what we do, all the products, all the brands, and also the knowledge that I will share also is always based on products that on one hand are circular, on the other hand also know that nicely designed products only have the power to shift to a circular product. So so that's for us a very important component. So I'm going to highlight you some of the brands and some of the key success circular pillars of these brands. So and what we do before we have brands on our platform, we have a circular vetting process that we have developed based on different pillars of circularity. So also the social fairness in it, the logistics in it, and this vetting process also is to create a badge of trust, because I will also explain it later how important trust and transparency is towards the sustainable consumers as such. So I think one of the main key takeaways, and I will dive more into detail how to do it, is building this trust and this transparency towards your audience and your customer. And a vetting process of a party like a marketplace or a platform like ours is of course also for the consumer a badge of recognition and credibility. The circular economy, it's a very complex matter also. It touches almost in every level of your product. It can be from the design phase to the production phase to the end of life cycle, but also in the repair. So you have different levels where you really can intervene as a brand, where you really can also give a sign that you really embrace circularity. So state there are different levels, many layers. So what we do also, we have been scanning over more than 2 years the European market to scan which products really understand that design is important, but also that circularity is integrated in products as such. So we have been scanning for 2 years. Our objective was to map these circular brands. And what we did was we went to the European database of circular enterprises. We went into databases of circular material suppliers, startup events. We went local hunting in some cities. We were a bit limited to COVID, of course, but we try our best. And we went really to the cities also where we see a certain circular maturity, like, for example, Amsterdam, where we have also now our pop-up store. We went also to see to sustainable competitive platforms. We work together also with Circular Monday, an initiative that fights the Black Friday overconsumption, and really also, so all the brands, all the organizations that we work together is to see, okay, which brands, and maybe you are one of the brands that needs to be on our platform, feel free to contact us. We can see how to work together. So what so it's mainly observation that we did, of course. It's also interviews, it's also founders, because we have also a very intimate relationship with them, our founders. We talked with them, we want to really know what their problems are. So when we walk to the brands, then we see three different clusters of brands. So you have, first of all, the starter brands, the beginners that are mainly also circular startups, where they start with sourcing materials. So they make products out of upcycled, of dead stock. They use sometimes recycled fabrics. They have a first green logistics, a packaging, a green delivery, but it's very starter level of circularity, because of course it's not only in the materials, there are also much more other dimensions where you can be circular. And so then we can go to the second cluster that are more the developing brands that on top of that also have done a certain CLA. So the circular life cycle assessment, I will talk more in detail about that soon. They have also sometimes already integrated the take back program, because closing the loop also is of course part of circularity. That's something that the starter brands are not able yet to integrate. More developing brands, we see that they really have also already thought about how can we close the loop more. And on top of that, also, of course, coming with a very unique circular brand identity is also something that really will stand out your brand and increase your success rate. And then we have a few leaders that we have identified. I'm very happy that we have them also on our platform and here in the pop-up shop, and that are brands that really embrace almost all the dimensions of circularity and try also to be as transparent possible to a consumer. So they do also impact measurements. They use the circular life cycle assessment data also to convince, and they're fully transparent. They also see the power in co-brandings and collaborations. The more collaborations we do within the ecosystem, the more credibility and the more success. And they've also the money in general also to go for certifications. And there are a lot of certifications. We will also dig deeper in that, but you need to choose wisely. So these are just some of the brands that you will see here on our platform or in the pop-up. We can go a little bit further on the brands itself, on the leaders. So if I go for the leaders, Elvis and Cress, for me, is one of the circular pioneers in the whole fashion industry. I think they started more than 10 years ago. They make sustainable luxury where they rescue fire hoses and make incredible nice lifestyle bags. They have a whole close the loop. They've also even their production has moved recently also with a whole circular plant, where also in the whole production process, they do the waste generation. They work also with brands like Burberry, where they made a deal with the Burberry Foundation, so close collaboration, and of course also give them authority. They transform them in this incredible nice leather cube. So it's all leather waste that is used for some leather cubes. And so above you see the icons also, and so like the icons in our vetting process, it's like all the different levels. Social fairness also, they give back their profit to, of course, a cause that is also linked to the fire hoses. So I think they give back to a charity of fire brigade. So so everything is really well thought over with Elvis and Cress. Then Comrades, there is a problem here with the visuals I see, but Comrades is apple waste. So for apple waste, they made sneakers into vegan leather ones. They use also PET bottles, cotton. They have a take back program. They're PETA approved, so they have already the certifications. They invested also in impact measurement that they really display. So if you really want to know what the positive impact is of buying a circular sneaker of Comrade instead of a Nike one, then you can see it everything transparently. Dupe is another brand, and so Dupe have this very strong claim. They say the last toothbrush you will ever buy. So the toothbrushes are made out of yogurt cup waste. So and they're so robust that you will be one piece, and that's it. On top of that, they've also the reuse that you can send it back where they can shred it again. You have also the removable heads, like you say. They give back also to an organization. So for every do bought, they also plant a tree. They come with a very unique and fresh brand positioning and identity. So they really, really stand out, and they redefine the standard of circular toothbrushes. And I think for all the brands that we have and that we also scan, and also as a brand itself, is really how can we redefine certain conventions, and as a circular product really innovate, come with a product that is not only circular but also looks very nice. And I think Doop is a very nice example. So 10 key learnings that we want to give away for every circular lifestyle brand that in our opinion you should try to respect, or at least work towards it. So I know it's not easy for a beginning brand also to embrace all these different learnings and to integrate them. It can be a gradual process. It can be possible that you need help from experts as such, but it's at least some things to keep in mind if you are the owner of a circular lifestyle brand. So circularity, it starts in the beginning. It can be present in different levels of the circular supply chain. And so the sustainable journey mapping is, for example, a tool where you really can see where do I in the value chain can innovate and where I want to be circular. So another kind of tool is the LCA, and the LCA is also a tool that is used, or the data of the LCA of this assessment are also used for impact measurement and impact barometers, and information that you afterwards also can use for showcasing your products, and of course the circular transparent data around it. So if you are, for example, a fashion brand, of course, it's in the farming process, it can be in the production, can be in the whole value chain. You can come with different data that you afterwards use to show. So the LCA in series, for example, the last swap, it's a product that really uses all the data and really communicates this also. And what they do, the outcome of this life cycle assessment, they translate it in a very understandable knowledge for a consumer, because we see this data in general, a consumer cannot understand it. So it's all about showcasing what do I good, what I reduce by purchasing or by using this product or brand. Start at the origin also. Designing for circularity is designing with the end of the life cycle in mind, and knowing that you need to disassemble the product. Yuma Labs, for example, a very good example. These are sunglasses made out of plastic waste. They are completely circular and in the loop. So, and the design process as such was made to see how can we disassemble at the end of life cycle. So you can do it really in the beginning. Honest is another good example as a brand with removable screws on the jeans. So every element can be afterwards also reused. You can also design for functionality, multi-use. It's also one of the principles of the circular economy. And this is, for example, a 3-in-1 brand that you can use circumstance. Another important learning is that materials matter. And here you can go in a lot of different directions, or you use already overstock or dead stock. You want to upcycle certain materials. Here you see a bag from Nikas. And so these are all interior design fabrics that are transformed in unique handbags. This is Joost. So what Joost, for example, does, he goes hunting for dead stock, and from these leftover fabrics, he makes a complete new collection. So the dead stock, the upcycling, so the overproduction is one way. Another way is just working with recycled plastics and use a 3D printer. So there's a lot of potential also for 3D printed products and do that with reused or recycled materials. Next to it, I show you a notebook from Paper on the Rocks. It's made out of stone waste. So before I met Paper on the Rocks, I never could imagine that out of stone waste, you can make even a notebook that is so good in quality and feels so good, where you don't need to cut any tree force. So yes, there are a lot of possibilities. And then you can go into another direction. Is if it's not about upcycling, you can go also, of course, for the most innovative new fabrics. And there is a lot of innovation. Ccrave is all kind of marine plastic, and from its marine plastic, they transform it into yarn. For example, all the bags from Circonstance, also, it's a very durable product also. So Ccrave, we see it also in swimwear, bags, or you go for Recover is another brand. Econil is much more known also as one of the big players. So it's all also in the materials choice. And for the materials choice also, there are a lot of different possibilities. Data is very important. Again, this data can afterwards used for your LCA. This LCA can be used for your impact measurement. So everything is interconnected in a certain extent. And so there are a lot of platforms also that give this information, and you can go very detailed in it. So select the most sustainable fabrics using the data that they give to you. And so I had it already, transparency, trust. Certainly, we want to be also, everybody wants to go against the stream of anti-greenwashing. And so if you have data, if you can show even during your whole supply chain how traceable you can be and what kind of resources, manpower is involved, you can showcase it. So the QR codes are there to stay for more than ever, I think. And so with a QR code also, you can have immediately all this information available for your consumer or customer. So one circular ID with all the information in your hand, and you can do it in a label. So I see also a lot of possibilities to build also trust and to do a transfer or knowledge that you have as a company. Certifications, it's a jungle there, but you have some fixed ones. So I think a very interesting evolution is that we see that the fashion industry has really embraced B Corp, and yeah, B Corp was already a standard. So, but it's very interesting that we see also the importance of B Corp infiltrating in the fashion industry. And then you have the more classic ones like the GRS or the organic textile ones, the cradle to cradle. You have the PETA for everything, for example, made out of apple waste. So they are their impact measurements and certifications. Well, then the consumer starts to trust you a lot. You can show that. So there are also platforms that now calculate it in different ways. So you can also show on the impact on a product level. And I think this is very interesting, certainly to convince in a later stage the consumer to shift and to compare with a linear product. So when we see this positive impact, it's always compared to what a normal traditional linear product and what you can do better for the planet, for the people on a circularity level. There are different ways to showcase this. Is also how much water you save, how much CO2 you reduce. So reduction of harm, that's really something that you need to showcase as a brand. So co-brandings and collaborations, they boost your notoriety. So the Yuma Labs did a whole collaboration with COS. You can say, okay, this is a fast fashion brand. Is it greenwashing or not? In fact, I think, of course, it's a really good opportunity for Yuma Labs to go for a mainstream fast fashion brand and reach with this collaboration. Can be also more niche, can be with influencers, collections that you make, capsule collections. So it gives always much more notoriety around the brand. And then we talked about the beginning with the design process, but you also need to think about the end of the life cycle. And yeah, if we really want to be completely circular, then it's a circular future. It's always about recycling again and again. So there are some key questions. that you need to ask yourself also as a designer, as a brand. Is it easy to dismantle? For example, the dupe, you just need to click the brush and it goes in one click, and that's what I showcased you. Can it be recycled in your own production cycle? For example, that's something what Yuma Labs does. Afterwards, when you return your glasses, then they go back into the system. Is it convenient? So they have also a tag. So a tag with a mail address, it's already, everything is printed. It's here in the shop. I was very impressed to see it. It's, I think, a true reference also to how integrate immediately and facilitate for your customer the send back. And of course, there need to be a reward, because otherwise people will not do it. Will there be a reduction on the next model? Will they have certain privileges? It's something that you can foresee as a brand. So this was an example of Yuma. Ninth, learning is leave all eco cliches away. Really build your own identity. Don't go into the sustainability eco cliches. As a circular brand, you really have also an opportunity to really come with a very strong and new design. And so that's what we do at Ccrave. Also, that's also the brands that we are looking for, is the ones that really also step away from the eco cliches on how they build a brand and how their imagery is. And so every brand also has a unique story to tell. Tell this story also apart, of course, from the more functional facts and data. There is always an emotional trigger also to make people fall in love with your brand. So as a conclusion, we have like the circular business booster takeaways. So the life cycle assessment is the best base to move forward in a circular world. Start at the origin, design for disassembly and closing the loop. We highlighted materials matter. Do you go for innovative materials or do you want to upcycle dead stocks? Data, they are everywhere and they need to be used wisely. And it's very good to see that you have all comparative data when you use certain fabrics and see how you can do a reduction of your harm. Enhance your credibility with these impact assessment scores. This is also linked to the LCA. So I think it's interesting to invest in this. If you can go for certifications, choose wisely. It's a jungle. I would go for one of the classics. I think B Corp. It's not a very expensive participation. It takes some time. But for example, B Corp is for sure. And then maybe the GRS or other ones. But partnerships, collaborations, the more we collaborate, the more that we find collaborations between different brands also, the more we push our ecosystem forward. Foresee the end of the life cycle, different questions to keep in mind, and then come with, of course, a unique brand image and unique brand story. And so to end, maybe a last note also, me and my co-founders, we all were born in a linear world. We all shifted also to a circular universe, a circular world. We know that how complex the process is, how multi-layered it is for all the businesses. We are beginning, I'll be on the beginning. And I think a lot of companies also, they still need this help. And so reach out to us. We can connect you to the right ecosystem of circular advocates and experts. We have like different competences. You have, of course, certain competences that we have in-house, but if we don't have them in-house, we have a whole network of people that we have been scanning over the last years and that work with us also on different needs for different brands. So don't hesitate to contact us. So join us in the circular economy revolution. You see our website. You have all kind of brands that you can and products that you can discover. For us, really products also that are a reference of the circular economy revolution and responsible products. And if you have any inquiries, you want to collaborate with us, you see a brand that you think that might be a good fit, you want to pass in the pop-up store, don't hesitate and pass by. So thank you so much for your attention, and we do for certainly a next edition of one of the webinars. Say stay tuned. Thank you.